St. James Theater, New York City. Regan Thompson, Michael Keaton, seen from behind, is sitting cross-legged in his dressing room, floating a few feet above the floor. He's dressed in nothing but tighty-whities. Birdman's voice, which appears to be coming from a Birdman movie poster, taunts him. The voice tells him he's a failure and should never have stopped making Birdman films. He despises being in this small, filthy dressing room that stinks of balls. Regan is a washed-up actor who is trying his hand at live theater after leaving a superhero franchise as Birdman. Sam, Regan's assistant/daughter, calls him on video, Emma Stone. She's in a flower shop, and they don't have the flowers her father wants. He advises her to get something that smells nice. As the call ends, she reaches for some roses, and he tells her not to get roses. It's unclear whether she hears him. Regan is summoned to the stage for a rehearsal over the PA. Regan talks to his manager, best friend, lawyer, and play producer Zach Galifianakis, on his way to the stage, who expresses concern about Regan starring in, writing, and directing a play based on Raymond Carver's What We Talk About When We Talk About Love, a real short story. One of the other actors, Ralph, Jeremy Shamos, isn't very good. Regan appears in a kitchen scene with 3 other actors. Leslie, Naomi Watts, Ralph, and Laura are their names, Andrea Riseborough. Regan looks up to the lighting grid during the scene, and one of the lights falls directly on Ralph's head, knocking him out of consciousness and the play. They need to find a replacement, and Jake is concerned because both time and money are limited. Leslie recommends famous actor Mike Shiner, Edward Norton, who is known to be difficult. He's available because he recently quit/was fired from another project, but he'd be a big draw. When Regan and Jake ask how she knows Mike, she says, "We share a vagina." Jake returns Regan to his dressing room and tells him to get ready for an afternoon of interviews. The interviewers are more interested in gossip and Regan's failed career than in discussing the play. Regan returns to the stage later that night to meet with Mike. Mike is a dedicated method actor. He astounds Regan by already knowing his lines, which he learned by assisting Leslie. Mike deconstructs several lines of dialogue with Regan, makes some good suggestions, and agrees to do the play. Sam drags Regan to costuming and strips naked in front of her. Leslie walks in, not realizing Sam is hiding behind a rack of clothes, and tells Mike to put on clothes because Sam may return and he shouldn't be naked in front of Regan's drug addict degenerate loser daughter. Sam reveals herself and walks away. Leslie is humiliated and screams at Mike. Laura informs Regan that she has missed 2 periods and believes she is pregnant. He pretends, poorly, to be pleased. Then he asks if she is certain it is his. She storms out the door. Jake informs Regan that Mike is far beyond their budget, but Regan agrees to pay for him himself. Jake is assisting the production in avoiding a lawsuit from Ralph by threatening to inform the press about the strange porn that Ralph enjoys. The preview performances of the play begin. On stage, Mike drinks real gin. Regan is about to enter when the stage manager informs him, so he casually switches the real gin for prop gin. Mike realizes his gin has been switched out during Regan's monologue and interrupts the scene in front of the packed house to yell at Regan for not committing to the performance and the characters. Riggin requests that the curtain be drawn, and he and Mike argue. Riggin tells Mike that he put his heart and soul into this production and doesn't need him screwing it up. Mike informs Riggin that he is merely a movie star with no right to be on Broadway in the first place. Riggin storms off the stage and tells Jake that he wants Mike fired, but Jake points out that pre-sale tickets have skyrocketed since Mike was brought on. Mike is unable to leave. Sylvia, Amy Ryan, Riggin's ex-wife, was in the audience. She goes to Riggin's dressing room to check on him. He informs her that he intends to refinance their Malibu home in order to help pay for the play. She's upset because Sam was supposed to come home one day. But she reluctantly agrees. Riggin informs Mike that he wishes to speak with him outside. Riggin claims he has a lot riding on this play and believes Mike dislikes him because he is popular. According to Mike, popularity is the slutty little cousin of prestige. They walk to a bar, and Riggin tells Mike that he decided to become an actor because he did a play when he was much younger, and Raymond Carver sent him a complimentary note on a napkin, which Riggin shows Mike. Mike points out that it's written on a bar napkin and speculates that Carver was drunk at the time, so it's meaningless. Mike also claims that the previews are just rehearsals that some suckers are willing to pay to see, so it doesn't matter if the previews aren't going well. The only performance that matters is opening night, and the only opinion that matters is at the other end of the bar. He's referring to Tabitha, Lindsay Duncan, the New York Times theater critic. Her review can make or break a performance. Nobody cares about a washed-up movie star like Riggin Thompson on Broadway. On cue, a family approaches Mike and requests that he take their picture with Riggin because they are huge fans. They don't know who Mike is. Mike pauses on his way out to mock Tabitha. She inquires if he is concerned that she will give him a negative review. He claims he is certain she will if he ever gives her a poor performance. Mike also tells Tabitha that he believes Riggin is genuine. Things improve in the second preview until the finale, when Riggin's character discovers Mike's character in a hotel bed with Leslie's character. Unfortunately, just as they're about to perform the scene, Mike announces that he has an erection and proposes that they have sex on stage in front of everyone. As the scene begins, he attempts to have sex with her despite her objections. Riggin's character storms the stage, brandishing a gun. Mike leaps out of bed, revealing a massive erection to everyone. As the audience laughs at Mike's penis, Riggin continues the scene and delivers his final monologue. He tells them he's nothing now and then shoots himself in the head. Everyone applauds, and the play is over. The cast takes their bows, and the show is a success. Leslie is upset and is heard muttering on her way to her dressing room that Mike hasn't been able to get it up in months. Riggin enters her dressing room and compliments her on her bravery and wonderfulness. Laura arrives and tells Leslie that she is hurt because Riggin has never said anything remotely nice to her in their entire relationship. Laura and Leslie eventually kiss. Riggin is still upset with Mike. Mike advises Riggin to get a better gun because the prop gun has a red tip and isn't realistic enough to intimidate him. Mike goes up to the roof to smoke and meet Sam. They compete in a game of truth or dare. She approaches him, but he reveals that the erection he had on stage was the first in a long time. Even if he wanted to, he doesn't believe he could perform sexually. She inquires as to what he would do to her if he could. He says he'd like to poke her eyes out and look at the city through her young, naive eyes. She enters the house. The following day, the newspaper publishes an article about the play. Mike is interviewed on the front page, and he claims ownership of the story about Raymond Carver seeing him perform and returning the note. Riggin is mentioned in a small story further down in the paper. Riggin uses telekinesis to destroy his dressing room and the Birdman poster. Riggin is furious and storms into Mike's dressing room, where he discovers Mike tanning. He drags Mike into the cafeteria, where they fight. They play the game. Riggin notices Mike and Sam having fun. Before his final scene, he decides to go outside for a cigarette. Unfortunately, he locks himself out of the theater, and his bathrobe becomes entangled in the door. So he has to walk around the block to the front of the theater, through Times Square crowds, wearing only his underwear. He returns to the theater, takes the stage from the back row, still in his underwear, and walks through the audience, pointing his finger like a gun. They finish the scene after a crew member hands him a prop gun. Riggin returns to the bar after the show and runs into Tabitha. He hands her a drink and begins telling her the story of the Raymond Carver napkin. She claims to be unconcerned. She's burying his play tomorrow because she has no respect for movie stars who want to play real actors. He tells her he's an actor, and she corrects him, saying he's just a celebrity. He walks out, downing the martini he bought for her and leaving behind the cocktail napkin with Carver's note. Riggin becomes inebriated and collapses on a stoop, his head on a trash bag. He wakes up the next morning and walks confidently down the street. Birdman's voice can now be heard as the Birdman character walks alongside Riggin. It tells him that he doesn't need to play this game. He should return to Hollywood and direct another Birdman film. Everyone would love it, and he'd make a fortune as a result. Riggin envisions the city street as a scene from a big blockbuster action movie, complete with explosions, helicopters, and giant robots. He returns to reality and climbs to a building's roof. A man approaches him and asks him to step back from the ledge. Riggin is correct. The man inquires if he is all right and if he has somewhere to go. Riggin says he's fine and knows exactly where to go before turning, running, and jumping off the building. He flies through the city like a superhero, then returns to the St. James Theatre and enters. On his way in, he passes a cab driver who is upset because Riggin did not pay him. Riggin is followed inside by the driver, who emerges a minute later. Riggin runs into Sam, compliments her on her work, and inquires about her personal life. They have a heart-to-heart. She draws dashes on toilet paper and says she learned that in rehab. Each dash represents 1,000 years. One sheet represents the duration of human existence on Earth. The remainder of the roll represents the planet's existence. It puts everything into perspective. He tells her that this play is his last chance to do something meaningful. She informs him that he does not comprehend. This isn't significant. He's unimportant. None of this matters. They're a scribble on a piece of toilet paper. Laura informs Riggin that he need not be concerned because she is not pregnant. In the rafters above the stage, Sam and Mike have sex. It's the big night. Regan's dressing room is brimming with flowers, but almost all of them are roses, which he despises. Sylvia comes over to wish him luck. Regan tells her that the night she caught him cheating on her, he went out to the ocean to drown himself, but he kept getting zapped by jellyfish and dragged himself back to shore. She recalls him telling her he got sunburned at the time. He claims that he must perform this play tonight because it is his last chance to do something right. Regan goes to the stage with a real gun after she leaves. He delivers his long monologue about realizing he is nothing, and then he shoots himself in the head. Everyone in the audience, except Tabitha, gives it a standing ovation. Tabitha sneaks out, ostensibly to meet her deadline. The rockets fly through the air again. Jellyfish lie on a beach. Jake tells Regan and Sylvia in Regan's hospital room that the play was a huge success. He has Sylvia read from Tabitha's review, which states that Regan has ushered in a new era of theater known as ultrarealism. It's implied that Regan had no idea the gun was real. Tabitha's review is titled "The Unexpected Virtue of Ignorance," the subtitle of the movie. Regan, Jake claims, shot off his nose, but he now has a new one. Sam brings Regan lilacs, which he likes but can't smell. Sam snaps a photo of Regan and tells him she'll post it on his Twitter account, which she just set up for him. She walks away to get a vase. Regan's bandages cover the same area that the Birdman mask covered. He enters the bathroom, removes his bandages, and examines himself in the mirror. His nose is bruised and swollen, with 2 large shiners. He returns to his room and notices birds flying outside the window. He opens it and steps out onto the ledge. Regan is gone when Sam returns. Sam looks out the open window to the ground, but he doesn't appear to see him. She smiles as she looks up at the sky. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe my channel.